Hi, I'm Darlene and this is Heartfelt Crochets. I would say probably about 7 months ago, I did a poll having a few of you who voted on what I should crochet out of all of the balls of yarn that I had in a basket. And it was voted on that I crocheted a Whacky Lap Blanket. And the goal was to just grab a random ball of yarn without choosing the color. Didn't matter if it matched the row before. And not end each row and cut the yarn at the perfect end of a row, but to just continue. And if that ball of yarn ended in the middle or at the third or at the 3/4 mark in the blanket, that's where it ended and I started the new color. Okay, it was just going to be random, wacky colors starting at one point, finishing at another. Well, I did an update on that blanket about 6 months ago, explaining that somehow in my anal thinking, I ended up not doing exactly what I had said and ended up taking the whole thing apart, and then I was showing you how far I had got. If you have no idea what I am talking about, I will go ahead and I will link that description, link that in the description box below so that you can go back and watch that video. It's been 6 months and the blanket kind of sat for a while because about 3 months ago, I kind of niched down to mainly granny squares. That's what my channel is about, mainly granny squares. It has some other crochet stuff in there as well, but it's mainly about granny squares and new stitches. So in the evenings, I would pick it up once in a great while, but not that often, because as I was making new granny squares, I didn't create these granny squares. Okay, I found them either on YouTube or in a granny square book, but I would do the tutorial. Okay, and I have a playlist for that. I will also link that in the description box below if you're interested in granny squares. But anyway, back to the Whacky Lap Blanket. So I ended up not doing it for a while because I was starting to use the balls of yarn for granny squares and swatches for stitch tutorials. And then I'm like, you know what? I have got to work on this blanket. And we had a hot spell where it was in the 90s and we were cranking the AC because the humidity was way up there and the UV index was really high and it was a hard time to breathe. So we cranked the AC and the apartment was really cold. So for the past couple of weeks during this heat wave, I have been keeping myself warm with this lap blanket across me as I have been crocheting it. So it's been 2 weeks of some pretty steady crocheting on this thing. I still have a ways to go, but this is the 6-month update. So are you ready to see? Okay, I'm gonna back up and I am going to show you what I have so far. And again, this was just randomly choosing balls of yarn out of the basket, which by the way, I only have just a couple really small balls left. I don't wanna just use skeins of yarn because that's not what this is about. This is about random size balls that you don't know where it's going to end in the blanket. And I don't want a skein of yarn that is going to be this much of the blanket of the same color. Okay, so I won't be doing any more for a little while. It might end up being Christmas time before I show you again. Who knows? But here's the update. The last video I showed you, I had only gotten to the orange, and then I went to the purple and the green and the teal, and then like a carrot color, blue and red, yellow, green, white, I think it's like a rose, a purple, and then walnut, carrot. I believe this is, I can't remember that color, blue. And then we had a light green, and I just did the gray. So this is what I have so far. I am absolutely loving how it is coming out. This is the alpine stitch. It's one row of the alpine stitch, and then the next row is a single crochet, and then an alpine row, and then a single crochet row. And the back side is very basic and flat, so you definitely can tell the front side from the back side. So there it is. That is another 6-month update on the Whacky Lap Blanket. Comment below, tell me what you think of it so far. And if you aren't familiar with the alpine stitch and you want to know how to crochet it, I will link that in the description box below as well for that tutorial. So that's it, guys. Until next time, bye.